So moving on to the next page, Dvorak composed lots of different types of music for orchestra, for concerto, for chamber music, for keyboard, for opera, for choral, and for vocal solos. And then moving on to his factoids, he composed many of his most famous works, including his symphony from the New World, while living in the United States. By using melodies based on African American songs, Dvorak influenced American composers to use American folk music and melodies. A lot of times at that point in this new country of the United States, people would always go back to what they knew from Europe or from whatever countries they had come from. And so Dvorak kind of introduced that new concept of, let's use the music that exists here in America already to influence the music. He once stated that his major influences were Richard Wagner, Johannes Brahms, and folk music. We'll be talking about Richard Wagner coming up here soon when we study kind of the famous opera composers. Dvorak met Brahms when Brahms was one of the judges in a contest which Dvorak entered. The contest was sponsored annually by the country of Austria, and Dvorak won the contest in 1875 and 1877. And now a timeline. In 1841, Antonin Dvorak was born. In 1845, Texas and Florida became states. In 1855, Florence Nightingale introduced hygienic standards into military hospitals, if you've ever heard of her story. In 1860, during the last 10 years, 424,000 people emigrated from England and 914,000 people emigrated from Ireland to the United States. So there was a huge influx of individuals from Europe to the United States, and possibly some of your ancestors came over at that time. In 1865, Lewis Carroll wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. In 1870, Manitoba became a Canadian province. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. In 1893, Henry Ford built the first car. And in 1904, Antonin Dvorak died. And also, a New York policeman arrested a woman for smoking in public. How dare she? Anyway, we will move on now to learn more about the finale from Dvorak's New World Symphony, that piece that he wrote in the United States.